Hello and welcome to Traffic Talks. My name is Pyro and I talk about what's going on in my life, usually with a lesson I've learned, some tips and tricks you can follow that helped me, and a lot of laughs in each episode. If this sounds like something you would enjoy hearing, feel free to follow the podcast, subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and to see what I'm up to, you can check out my Instagram page linked below. Bye! Hello and welcome back to the podcast. I hope you can hear me. I've messed with my setup a little, so I hope that I am coming through free and clear and that it's not too terrible on your hearing to be listening to this. It's been a long day, okay? Just forgive me. I am recording right now and we are currently smack dab in the middle of a 4-hour load shedding session, and yes, I've ranted enough about this, but I think I get like another minute just because Andre de Ruyter's new book came out. Well, I think it's his only book. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But his new book, Exposing Eskom's BS, is out and I am dying to get my hands on it to kind of just devour it. So I think I'm allowed to just mention Eskom one last time. Just once. Because honestly, they deserve a lot of the things because of what came out in the book. There's so much, I'm not even going to touch it with a 10-foot pole until I've read it. So we'll see when I get my hands on it. But we are in a 4-hour session and we're halfway through, and I thought I've been prepping this episode, so let me get on with it. I am recording in advance, especially for this episode because I've got a lot happening. By the time you hear it, it will be this past weekend. Once again, jumping timelines here, but I've got a funeral, I've got a whole lot of things to do on Sunday, and the weekend is fast approaching. I finally managed to respond to a voice note a friend sent me that it took me more than a week to get to. So life, as per usual, has been lifing, but I'm trying to get ahead of the game and I'm very proud of myself for that. So yes, very excited for what's happening. But onto what you actually came here for. Today's episode is my 3-month goal update. I split my year up into 3 months sections and tackle goals within those 3 months that are usually breakdowns of my bigger overarching goals. This just makes it more achievable and manageable. So that's what I do. This is the second goal update for the year. I would highly recommend 2 previous episodes. The first one being the second episode of the year, which is the 12 areas of life episode. I'll link it down below if I can get it, if I can work my magic. And the second episode I would recommend is my first goal update for the year. So those are just ones that will help you preface and understand everything that I'm going to get to. So definitely go listen to those first. If you don't listen to them, it's cool. I think you might just be a bit lost when I reference something that I've already covered in those, because I'm trying to get this episode out faster, but also keep it shorter. The last episode was a bit long. The one before that was, I think, long as well. So I'm definitely trying to just cut down and make things more concise. And my current rambling as I am speaking is not helping. So straight on to the rest of the episode. So in those previous episodes, I explained the 12 areas of life and what they were, and that I was focusing on about 6 goals for the year, but there would be 9 items, if I can put it that way, in total. So there are 12 areas of life. I'm going to focus on 6 of them for the next 12 months, and out of those 6, I've made 9 subcategories, if that just makes it simpler. So for the health and fitness section, last time I spoke about taking my vitamins, working out, drinking water, eating better meals, and possibly meal prepping. And for the last quarter, I wanted to mainly focus on eating healthy, taking my vitamins, and drinking my water. I wasn't too concerned about the working out. I just wanted to do more movement within my day. Because I work a desk job and sit at my desk working, I wanted to focus on just moving more throughout the day, which I have achieved, I would like to say so. In essence, I've cooked better meals, especially in the morning to start my day. I do what I like to call a leftover egg scramble, which I did put up a picture of it on my Instagram stories, I think. with basically a bowl. It's basically a Buddha bowl, just less pretty. So it's just leftover stuff I find. So onion, peppers, carrots if there is. Spinach is something I've been adding a lot. Throw that in a pan, throw some spices with it. I usually use whatever leftover rice or noodles as a carb, so I don't have bread with it. And then toss an avo on top if there is, and off you go. Once everything is fried, throw in my egg, scramble it up, and then toss it into a bowl. It's as simple as that, but you can pack so many veggies and nutrients in there, it'll blow your mind. So I've definitely been eating better. And then meal prep, I'm still iffy on. I literally went on a tangent on this last week. But meal prep is something I'm a bit weird about. But I don't think meal prep in the traditional sense will work for me. I feel meal planning is a better idea. Especially because if you know what your week's meals are going to consist of and you buy the ingredients as you go, you can always swap out and be like, you know what, I don't actually feel like eating this today. I'll eat that meal and then swap it out for that one. And off you go. So that is definitely something I need to focus on for the next 3 months. But I have been eating better. I've been tracking my water and it's been going brilliantly. And then I've also been taking my vitamins to the point that I actually need to take myself to the shop and get more vitamins because I'm about to run out of the ones that I am currently taking. And I finished off one, I think a week ago. And I just didn't get a chance to buy more. So I definitely need to get more vitamins, which I'm very happy to say has made a difference. Like I can feel it internally, there's a difference. So I'm just going to stick to what I've been doing and keep moving forward. So the next 3 months, I'm going to focus more on the workout aspect of this health and fitness. I do think that is going to be a real hassle and a genuine challenge for me for the next 3 months because it's winter. Once again, I ranted on this last week. It's winter, it's cold, I hate waking up early, but you have to do what you have to do. So I'm actually going to try and fit it in sometime after work where I can eat something before work ends for the day to kind of make sure I have enough energy to sustain me for the workout, and then change into my exercise clothes and actually do a workout. I've usually tried to do yoga one day and then the more intense workout the next day, and that system actually worked well for I think 3 weeks, maybe more. So that is something I definitely want to get onto. Yeah, and as I said, I do have a goal weight I'm trying to reach by my birthday. It's nothing too insane, but I'm not going to focus on that number. I'm going to focus on feeling better and being able to do more. So yeah, that's it for the fitness. For the intellectual aspect of my life, I have actually slacked off on meditation because I've been focusing more on intentionality and being more intentional about everything I do. Therefore, I kind of feel the meditations have not been a waste. I don't think meditation is a waste, but I think meditation has fallen to the wayside because I don't have a lack of focus anymore. Meditation for me is something that generally brings me into the moment. It makes me kind of see the running river of my mind, versus when I don't meditate and everything is just like flowing and I can't grab anything and all those kinds of things. It helps me calm down and see one issue at a time, and being more focused on the intent of everything I do has helped me not to lean on that meditation crutch, because for me it did become a crutch. I used to do it or else my day was bad. I used to do it or else like, oh, I can't sleep. But like, I've grown past that. It's something I don't think I'll ever give up, because there are meditations, or I call them mini therapy meditations, because they just help you look in yourself and see things from a different perspective, where you lose all judgment and ego and you can see something for what it is without that shame or guilt or ego taking over and making you either beat your chest or hide your face. So that is just something I've learned through this whole process. Another thing I wanted to do was courses, reading, and possibly language learning. And I did do the free courses on Google, and I went off on a rant about that. So yeah, reading I have slacked off on because I've just been busy with other things. I just didn't get there. But I have been making more time to read, and it's actually been quite fun, which is why I say I want to read and I want to get a hold of that book from Under the Radar so that I can devour it, because I love doing that with books, especially when I'm excited about them. I generally use that momentum to devour the book. When the book about Zephany came out a few years ago, I was on a mission. I'm just like, I need to get this book. I need to get this book. I need to get this book. And I can't even remember if I came home one day or my brother just went out and came back. And he's like, oh, by the way, I got you this. And it was her book. And I squealed and screamed. And I started reading the book and I finished it within a few days. And my brother's like, oh my word, are you done with it already? I'm like, yeah, it was a brilliant book. Thank you. And I finished it, and he's like, I have someone else that wants to read the book. And I'm like, good, here you go, take it, pass it on, spread the joy. Like, I love that. So I want to find that joy for the next few books I'm reading and get through them, because honestly, I definitely want to keep reading. That is something I truly enjoy. So yeah, I've also been looking at something I want to study. It is a 4-year degree, but I haven't set it in stone. I do know it's going to take a lot of money to study. So I need to kind of think that one through first. Especially career-wise, I have a lot of other things I need to do. I need to build a career and then kind of push through and do what I need to. So I'll see how that goes. But my goal for the next few months, 3 months, is to actually focus on just reading more, because I've done the courses and I don't feel they've benefited me too much. So I would definitely like to instead read something that will help me, because a lot of books I have are more self-therapy, self-help, intellectual kind of books that have life lessons. Some of the books are purely for fun, which I'm dying to dive into. But I think reading will be my focus for the next few months, especially because I can sit in a warm bed and read. So that is definitely my goal for the next few months, to actually just read my books. For my next goal, focusing on my emotional life, I definitely wanted to deal with all the grief I had been going through beginning of the year, that kind of just rolled over from last year, and having to go to another funeral is another thing that's gonna just eat away at me, but it's something I definitely need to deal with. Therapy, I found, is just way too expensive. In this day and age and in this economy, I've called up my old therapist to find out pricing, and she's increasing by 200 Rand, maybe a bit more since the last time I visited her, and that is ridiculous. I found another therapy office which is cheaper than my old therapist, and I'm just like, do I, don't I, kind of a thing. And I'm just like, you know what, I am coping fine, so if I do, I will definitely go. But I think for now I'm good with not going to therapy. Therapy has always been a tool for me to kind of reflect on things, and I think because I've been journaling more, which was a goal I had last time, and I've definitely been doing that, and in doing the journaling I've been able to work through more issues and also reflect a lot, and that has been its own form of therapy. So I've definitely been doing better. Leaning on my friends has also helped, especially because I've been visiting them more often or seeing them. So I've been dealing with my emotions quite well, but I definitely think I want to get a journaling book or some form of therapy book that can kind of help me deal with all these things and self-therapize, if I can put it that way. Because I think everyone needs to go to therapy, but at these prices, I don't know. I'm on the fence. So we'll see. Because also, with this economy, I'm trying to save up for a house, I'm trying to save up for a lot of things, and that money would definitely do me a lot of good in other places. And self-care is kind of like therapy. So I've got better uses for my money than that. Not that I don't think therapy is important. I just don't think it's in my budget right now. So I think to find some sort of workbook is going to be my goal for the next 3 months. And if I do find something, I'll obviously share it. But yeah, that is definitely something to deal with. And I'm also very wary because of winter and the way things change. But I've got an episode planned for that later, so you can watch out for that one. The next area of life is character, which I chose to kind of be like a non-goal goal, if I can put it that way, because your character develops as you grow and as you learn things, and it kind of just sorts itself out. And this is where the journaling has come in very, very handy, because I've been able to see traits or notice patterns and be able to do things that I wouldn't have usually been able to do. And that's all because I can reflect on everything. I did mention, I think in last week's episode, about when I spoke to my brother, and he's like, no, I know you're not going to be able to do this for the long term. And I'm just like, that is something that I can learn from. That is something about my character that I didn't know was there, but now that I am aware, I can work on it. So being able to learn things about myself has made me a better person, and being able to see my character form outwardly and almost on paper versus just going through the motions internally and not realizing it has been an interesting journey, because sometimes changes are so gradual you don't even notice them yourself. One thing I notice is sometimes people just become mean. Like they just are so mean for no good reason. And it's like, who hurt you? How did you become like this? And when you ask other people, they're just like, they were never like that. How did they become this person? And I'm just like, gradual, slow changes, life. Seeing myself, because that's the only example I can use, change and grow has been interesting, and I don't know how else to word it, so I'm going to move on. The next aspect is social life, and the last time I said I needed to focus on this first because I wanted it to be something important that I do work on, and I honestly think I have. There was an episode a while back where I said, when it rains it pours. And that was kind of what my life was like. I think beginning of May, I saw a friend, I saw a cousin, I saw another friend. And it was like just everyone wanted a piece of me, and I couldn't tear myself apart fast enough to see everyone. And there was a party, like all in the span of like 2 weeks. And it was a lot. So I definitely think I've been keeping up with my friends much better than I used to be. So I definitely think I ticked that off, but I do think I need to make it more firm and more consistent. Hence, learning more consistency from the previous aspect, which was character. But yeah, more consistency, especially in the important things that do matter, because that is something we don't realize we actually need in our lives. So focusing on meeting up with my friends, especially in this harsh weather, is going to be tough, but I think I'll be able to crack it. And then definitely just keeping up better communication is something I also think will be very, very important. So yeah, that's what I'm going to focus on. The next aspect is financial life, and it's funny how everything just comes full circle, because when I spoke to my friend a while back, we've been exchanging voice notes, and I spoke about my financial life and how we need to just sit down and have a whole powwow about finances, because I love talking about finances, even though I never do anything about it on this platform, because I think there is enough information out there, and for me to be someone who is not qualified in any way, shape or form, I don't feel okay with speaking about it and giving advice. So that's just me. But I do love the nitty-gritties around it. I did take accounting in high school, which I think is just so me, because I've loved numbers and accounting and working out budgets and things like that from a young age. So that was kind of just right up my alley. In terms of goals, the one thing I wanted to do was work down my debt and focus on my emergency fund. And I've actually achieved one of those goals. I got rid of my debt and I have been working on my emergency fund. So I do have a couple of expenses coming up this month, including having to buy a plane ticket here and back or there and back. So we'll see how that goes. I do have savings saved up for it that won't touch my emergency fund, but that is definitely something that I didn't plan for. But I'm glad I've got money saved up for that. As we know, I've got savings here and there, so I'm always trying to save my money. So going forward, I think for my financial life, I want to definitely build my emergency fund and my other major savings funds, because I did say I wanted to start saving up for the big ticket items, as I call them, and definitely having money saved up for those things that can be used when something like having to fly somewhere comes up is a really good thing, especially when you're not touching your emergency fund, because it is exactly for that, an emergency. So that is something I'm going to be doing, building the emergency fund, working on my savings. The third thing I'm going to be doing is actually focusing on trying to cut down on expenses. One of this is actually dyeing my own hair and going for haircuts when there's a special. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that is my financial life goals. Next, which is seemingly the last one, is my career. As I've mentioned, I think I'm just going to find my career per se, not just another job. But I've spoken to my friend recently, and one conclusion I have come to is that I prefer working from home in winter. So at least for the next 3 months, I am going to be sticking it out at the job that I have. I do plan on finding another job within the next 3 months, so hopefully that all goes as planned. And I hope it's a career move. I definitely will be working on it, but I'm very excited to see how this is going to happen, because currently I am very out of my depth. I'm not really sure how to be going about it, but I do know I want to find a career, not just a job, especially one that pays better. I definitely feel like I'm overworked and underpaid, and I definitely want to change it. So that is what I will be doing. The next 2 areas of life are quality of life and life vision. Those are kind of self-explanatory. I've been over them. But making these small changes and trying to achieve these goals have affected both, because my quality of life has definitely gone up. My health has gone up. My mental stability and sanity has gone up. And my vision for life has also just become much clearer. I do know that I'm not sure what exactly I want for the future, but I do know what I don't want. And that kind of, like I mentioned in an episode back, it ping-pongs you to where you actually just need to be in life. Like a pinball in that machine. You just get thrown side to side, and eventually you're just like, oh, how did I end up here? Yeah, okay, cool. I took a couple knocks, but I'm actually in a better place. So that's kind of what I was looking at and trying to see the vision that I want for the future. And I can't see it clearly, but I think that's okay, especially for someone who kind of just goes with the flow. It's not really out of the norm. I just think I need to control what I can, let go of what I can't, and just focus on what I need to get done. Thinking too far out stresses me out, and hyper-focusing on things kind of Makes me a little bit anxious because I tend to forget that there are other things besides this one thing I'm focusing on, and everything else falls to the wayside. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm not going to ramble any further. This episode is way too long, but it is what it is. The song of this week is one that I've been enjoying for the longest time. It's a bit old, but it's good. The funny thing is, I actually love this artist. Her name is Jess Glynn, and I've been following her for quite a few years now. She's an incredible artist. If I'm not mistaken, she actually opened for the Spice Girls when the Spice Girls did a reunion tour a couple years back. So yeah, she's amazing. The song of the week is Ain't That Far To Go by Jess Glynn. And if you've heard this song, you will know how cool it is. It's got like this funky little piano intro. It's got such a chilled vibe about it, and the message of the song is really good. I spoke to my friend about lyrics of songs, and we are both people who like the lyrics and find deep meaning in it. So that is definitely the song of the week. Go listen to it. I will link it somehow. And as per usual, keep being a better being and go for your goals. I'll see you in next week's episode. Love you. Bye.